Welcome to the It's All Fine and Dangy podcast, where hosts Dan and Angie talk with creatives, small business owners, charities, and all kinds of interesting people. It's all real talk. It's all fine and dangy.
I mean, Dan will do that.
Like, that's Dan's job.
That is Dan's job.
That's Dan's job.
The technical stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Well, you do all the real work with chasing everybody down.
Well,
so,
hey, I got to do something.
So how have you been?
I've been great, man.
Yeah?
I've been awesome. And I was mentioning earlier how I looked and see it's almost been a year since we did the first one.
That's crazy.
The time went by so fast.
Yeah, you were on like episode 81,
Yep.
and we're, almost, creeping up on doubling that. So,
Oh my goodness, that's
There we go.
true.
There
This
we
is
go.
very
Yeah,
true.
that time
and I
flies.
think I was introduced to you through Shanta Gardner, right?
Yep. Yes, you were.
From Win Styles.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So this is how we do find most of our guests, actually.
Kind of word of mouth.
Sure.
Yeah, because, when you know another great small business, you want to, in your small business, you want to spread the word.
So
and
true.
that's what we love. You guys, small businesses support each other. And
Yeah.
that's what we love.
And we're finding that really for, not to get all mystical or anything for a minute, but for the ones that have been the most successful seem to be the ones that aren't afraid of competition. There's enough success to go around,
Definitely.
There
Definitely.
certainly is.
You have to be ready. You have to be ready for that. If you're a small business
Yeah.
and you're coming up,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you got the big guys, depending on what industry you're in.
Sure.
But even when you're small, I think there's a lot of there's room for growth, and you have some advantages.
Yeah.
And you just have to know them and take advantage of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's room for other people in the same business. That's what I love. We were just talking about a coffee shop last night or last week on the show. And there's
another
like
coffee
there's
shop.
another coffee shop. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been over there. It's great. And it's like, how cool is that?
They're supporting each other.
Because I know one opened in a Popka, like another. coffee
Yeah, a
shop.
couple. Yeah,
We actually have like three.
Birchwood is Birchwood is the one we started talking about because I just discovered them and it's amazing. I was there last weekend. Like I get up early to go write. And that's one of my passions. And so it's a perfect little spot. Their food is. Have you had the food there?
I haven't had the food. I haven't got a chance to go there, but
It's so
I
good.
heard a lot about it.
There's an air of like it's like a.
It's fancy.
It's like there's like a high end air in there. Like
It's
I'm
fancy.
serious. There's like when they said they have quiche, I thought, okay, it's like some frozen store bought thing. No, it's like this
fresh.
made from scratch recipe. And they do like the pour over coffee, and the guy behind the counter roasted the beans himself.
Wow.
And it was amazing.
fancy stuff.
Yeah, really good. And then Propagate Social House is the other one, and we love it over there too.
Now, where's that one at?
That one is.
It's like right downtown Apopka.
Yeah, almost
Okay,
right
still
at
in Apopka.
Yeah, almost right at the intersection of 441 and Park Avenue, right near like the Ace Hardware store
Okay,
over
yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so right
Okay.
where Three Odd Guys Brewery is and all.
I know exactly what you're
Same little strip right there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
we're
cool.
getting like some fancy stuff in
Hey,
Apopka. So
Apopka's
we love
stepping
it.
up.
Starting to feel a
Yeah.
little trendy spots. It's very cool.
Gonna give me a reason to go there more often.
Yeah, for sure.
So, James, welcome back.
Yes,
you're,
I'm excited.
You're one of the handful of guests that we've had repeat.
I'm family.
Yeah.
So thank
I'm
you so
family.
much. We're so excited that we actually get to meet you in person.
Yes,
Our last
yes.
visit was virtually.
And I still remember when we said, we're like, hey, when we get back to live, we can't wait to have you in. I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
it.
So this is so great.
So
So
we're on episode 127. So that
Yeah, oh.
shows the gap
It's
there.
127. So for those of you listening, we are sitting with James Hicks from Hicks Financial. Is it James Hicks Financial?
It's Hick. No,
Just
just
Hicks.
Hicks
It's Hicks
Financial,
Financial.
Asset and Wealth Management.
Hicks Financial Asset and Wealth Management.
Yes,
So welcome back. Yes.
I'm glad to be here.
So it's funny. We were talking. Of course, we start the conversation with small business because we love to support small business. But
Awesome.
you do small business consultations.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
like the first thing I noticed on your website. So I just wanted to know kind of like what that is.
We're going to do a lot of that tonight.
Awesome.
We're gonna,
Yeah,
what
like,
Oh,
what is that?
No. That is a great question because the idea I really kind of revamp things to where I like to look at myself as like a financial coach.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I have to sit with an individual or a family or a small business, because
Sure.
I work with a lot of small businesses now, and actually sit and counsel them on the best direction they should go financially
course.
with their business or in their family structure.
I love
and
it.
so it really takes time to sit and consult them on the next steps and where they should go. And and like I said, I like to look at it as like a financial coach. 'Cause I like to
Yeah.
every step of the way, have check-ins from time to time and see, hey, where are we at with this? How's this going? Do we need to make any revamps, and change something up because maybe this is not working right? And I like to see my clients get to their destination.
So you have a real accountability kind of checklist in place with them.
Yes.
And I think the first time we talked about like financial health. So that's your, instead of a health coach, you're a wealth coach. I love it.
There we go. I like that. Wealth coach. I like that.
I noticed your website is like streamlined too. So you've got and I like that because it makes it a lot more the point of entry into getting help. You've got your bullet items on, and I'm assuming that what you're finding is a lot of the people that come to you or the companies that come to you have the same questions or the same concerns.
Yes.
So you don't need like 200 things on your website.
No, you don't need 200 things on the website. And this is the thing. I'm I'm sure you guys have been through it, revamping my website and doing things,
you
you always want to keep it fresh.
But a lot of people find me more through my social media.
Yeah.
Hicks Financial AWM on Instagram, Hicks Financial AAWM on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And even though I have everything lined up on the website, I've done other things outside of what's even on the website. Because I'll have people call, say, do you do this and do you do that? Because I've only been starting my business last year, June, so a year and change. So it's steadily evolving.
Yeah.
Some things that I've gotten into.
Because you're seeing more, things that people are wanting.
Exactly the point. Like retirement planning. I've had a few clients that come and say, hey, I'm, getting older. What should we do retirement planning? That's stuff that I'm very familiar with. They didn't have it on the website because it's just getting started. So I just kind of stuck with some basics.
Yeah.
But retirement planning is one thing that I've branched out into.
And we start thinking about that as we get older. But we want what I know you probably, try to really get into people's head is start thinking about this when you're younger.
That's the if perfect situation.
Yeah, of course.
You start thinking about it in your 20s, you're great.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you didn't get to think about it and you're in your maybe early 50s and you're still like, hey, what can I do?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are, hey, it's better to start now than later.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's get started now. And there's still ways that we can make it happen. Because if you think about it, you have a lot of people who are working, later now.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is more time before they actually say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna shut it down.
I'm done.
And so once you bring up all the additional options, it's funny how they'll realize like, oh, I didn't know that it was this option. I didn't know that I could, use this or use that. So that's
so you
the
really
consultative
need an
part.
expert in that because there is so much out there. Things, you can Google it. Sure. You can.
It only gets you so far. You know,
if you're like me, you're impatient and you're like, okay, the first two things didn't tell me what I needed to know. I got to go. I just need somebody to tell me.
But also, I feel like a real financial advisor like yourself, we talk about this. We told you this a year ago. That tells you how much we've been procrastinating to meet with you because
well, no, we did say after we got married.
You said after the marriage. That's right.
Fair enough.
You did say after the marriage.
Because I would imagine you get this from some clients, but I'm kind of in that boat where I have retirement. But I could use more, like anyone could. You can have a better retirement.
That's right.
I'm also one of these people that will probably never 100% retire because I want to do some side hustle stuff.
Exactly.
But that's the exact kind of conversations I'm assuming we can have with you.
The conversation I have.
Yeah.
And most times they're, people from different walks of life. For one of my clients had a small business and he's looking into retirement and things like that. And one thing he never thought of, I said, hey, who knows what you're going to want to do down the line. You may want to, get somebody in to run the business and you still get residual income from that. Or you may decide to sell the business or sell a portion of the business.
Yeah.
That income goes into retirement. He was like, oh, well, I never thought about that. Those are different ways.
I would imagine there's a lot of people that don't think like that, though. They just think they're going to start a business, they're going to run it for a certain amount of years, and then that's it.
And then that's it. No. When you start something that's successful, there's a lot of different ways that you can use it towards your retirement. And I was able to do that with them. But I wanted to go back. You mentioned things that you can Google, like you can Google it. And how I always look at it as it's no different from if you're trying to get in shape. We were talking earlier about you get older, you got to get in shape. I mean, you can Google different exercises and things too. That's not always going to get you out of bed.
No, and I'm telling you,
that's not going to get you to the gym.
as an IT professional, you can Google it and you might get the solution. And you might really break things. I assume it's very similar.
That too. You may mess around and get it wrong.
Right.
So when it comes to things that are really important, it helps to get a professional, just like with your health. Sometimes it helps to get a trainer that can tell you the right way to do things so you're not making a bunch of mistakes and messing things up. When it comes to your financial health and wealth, sometimes it's best to get somebody that's a professional.
I love it. So what does a sit down look like? So like, maybe for a small business, what does a sit down look like? Like where would you start? And normally, like, how long do you work that plan out for? Does it vary, just kind of depending?
Everything for me varies on the situation, because everybody's business is different. Even if it's in the same industry, everybody, especially small businesses, it differs based on their ideas, based on their mission, based on their vision, where they want to go. Everybody doesn't start a small business to keep it for 50 years. Some people want to start it and keep it for 5 years and sell it.
Yeah.
So
true.
Depending on where they're trying to go, will depend on, the advice that I give them and how long I work with them.
Yeah.
And then it also depends on what situation are they really in. How bad is it or how good is it? Sometimes it's not a bad situation. Sometimes they're good. They're just trying to get better. They're trying to improve.
I love that.
But a lot of times what I tend to run across is business owners who are good at what they do. Let's say a chef. They're great at cooking. They're great at baking and doing that. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're good at handling their finances.
Of course.
Or the business side of it.
Yeah,
but they're good at what they do. So they have, money coming in and they could be doing really well, but they have no idea where it's going.
Oh,
they're just spending it out.
A lot of waste.
Yeah, a lot of waste, a lot of this and stuff going on, and they don't know how to streamline it, allocate it, and put it in the right spot so that they can look at it and say, okay, this is my profit. This is what I've wasted so far. This is where I need to streamline more. Now I have money to bring in employees and things like that.
Yeah,
they may not be good at that, and that's when they call me.
Well, how many times have you gone to I wish I could think of one, but I wouldn't name them here on the air anyway.
Yeah.
But you've gone to like a successful restaurant and they're booming and they're doing great and the food's amazing, and then one day they're closed.
That happens.
And you're
all the
like,
time.
how did that happen? But that's probably how it happens.
That's usually how it happens.
Yeah.
Because they're good at what they do. They're good at serving. They're good at cooking. They're good at all of that. But the business side and the financial side, that's where they lack. And then they wait till the last minute to get help.
Because it gets overwhelming, right? It's like once it kind of snowballs and it's gone out of hand for a little while, then it's too exhausting to probably even look at.
And this is the thing, and I was thinking about this, and I'll use this analogy and not go too deep, but really finance is really, and talking about financial wellness, when it comes to financial stuff, it's almost like sex, because it's one of them topics that nobody really likes to talk about. But
we do.
We have no problem.
Okay, well, other than Dan and Angie,
Welcome to the podcast.
That's why I just made it a lot more interesting. But it's usually something that people don't like to talk about, but it affects everybody.
Right.
And it is important.
Right.
So
And
you don't just talk about it until it's too late or things have already gotten bad.
Yeah.
So we had a baby.
There we go. That's right. So things got crazy when you should have handled it earlier.
That's right.
Well, I mean,
I love that.
That's a good point. And is that kind of what you mean by a financial assessment, where you kind of sit them down and go over I would assume it's sort of going over what your assets are, what your debt is, how much you make, and putting it all in a recipe to figure it out.
That's the thing people don't want to talk about.
That's what it is. And I'm not trying to make a theme here, but I always like to say, and it's funny, but it gets the point across. When I'm sitting with a client, I let them know, hey, I'm gonna need you to get naked.
Yeah.
And what that means is I need to see it all.
All of it.
I need to see it all. The good,
so embarrassing.
the bad, the ugly.
It doesn't work if you're like, I'm going to tell them about everything except that one credit card.
You can't be shy.
You can't be shy.
It's got to be an open relationship.
That's right.
I'm like your therapist. I'm like your doctor. When you get the doctor, they do the physical. You got to take it all off.
There it is.
When you're dealing with me, if you want me to help, I got to see the whole thing. I got to see everything.
So I think that's probably the apprehension that a lot of people have, because even if you do pretty well and you're living comfortably, there's more you could be saving.
Of course.
Or saving you could be doing if you're not. And I think a lot of people probably get in the headspace where they're like, I really want to get a financial advisor, but I also don't want it to be like the financial advisor came and now you can never go to dinner and now you can never buy that.
So we were talking about this. We're like, okay, so we want to meet with James, but we still want to have a life.
Right. But there's a balance, right? I guess you outline the goals maybe, because if you said, look, we still want to go to dinner once a week. I want to buy, maybe a computer every other year or something. You have to budget that in.
And that is the assessment part, because I have to know that as well. I have to, and I always create within, if I'm just doing a budget, business-wise or personal, there's a miscellaneous.
Sure.
There's a miscellaneous category where there's money there for the fun stuff, for the dinners, for the go skating or golfing or whatever the case is, but it's still budgeted.
Yeah.
So I always say, once that runs out, if you spend it all quick and it runs out, then it's gone.
So then you got to teach yourself to
go for a walk.
Right. You got to teach yourself to go. I got to wait till I get paid again before we go to dinner again, instead of what people do, where they borrow into the next
to the next month, and they're steadily behind,
which we're all guilty of.
Sure.
Most are.
Come on.
Sure.
I wouldn't be in business if that was not the case.
Yeah.
Most people are guilty of it. That keeps me employed.
But I think as you get older, it gets much more critical, because you think, if I could have been better with my money, like you said, from my 20s, but even if I wasn't, there's still time. It's like the dentist to me. You don't wait until that tooth is hurting so bad, because then, they could have fixed it for $30.
Exactly.
Now it's going to be $2,000.
Exactly.
You know?
And then I don't want to just pick on, those who are in bad situations, because, we have a lot of those. But then I think even getting a financial coach, a financial advisor is good for those if you're in a good situation. Because once again, it's, like a marriage, you don't want to wait till the whole marriage is falling apart and then say, okay, I'm going to get a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
Even when things are pretty good, but you may see a few cracks, maybe that's the best time to get a marriage counselor. So the same thing financially.
Good, it can always be better.
It could always be better. And it doesn't hurt to have a separate set of eyes to look at what you're doing, to say, hey, you're doing well. I've dealt with, I've been blessed to deal with people who are doing very well, businesses who make, over $1 million a year, and they're doing really good. But I'm still able to look and say, hey, you're doing great. But, here's some other things to think about, some other ways to look at what you're doing to do better and take you to the next level.
Totally makes sense. Because to me, you could be saving and doing well and making good money for years and have your retirement, but it could also be the difference between retiring and retiring more comfortably.
There we go.
That's
exactly. And we tend to, especially if you're not really into finance, you tend to not think about inflation.
Yeah.
The idea that in 20 years from now, everything's going to cost way more.
Oh, that's
just like
a great
20
point.
years prior, things were a lot cheaper and, now it's expensive. You tend to not think about that.
Yeah.
So $1 million today is not going to be $1 million in 20 years.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it from that aspect. Just
that's a great point.
I'm going to have a $1.5 million at retirement. Is that really going to be enough?
Yeah.
Let's look at your lifestyle. How do you want to live? How often do you want to vacation?
Yeah.
What do you want to give the kids? Would you want to buy a new home? That's probably not going to be enough.
And when you do the math, even if you had kids are independent and your house is paid off, because I'm guilty of this, when you do the math and your retirement, you're like, all right, well, if we had this much per year for this many years, we're good. But with the inflation, I never thought of that either.
That's what tends to keep, you see some people who they retire, but then they have to go back to work.
Yeah.
And they have to, do other stuff, not because they want to, because they have to, because they did not keep in mind that, hey, the price of goods and services continue to rise year over year.
Yeah.
So now, when you thought this amount 20 years ago was going to be good, when you sat with an advisor 20 years ago and they said, oh, you'll have this amount and you should be good. 20 years later, you realize, I'm really not good. So now I got to still work in order to maintain.
That's why it's important to keep that coaching up.
Yes.
So just like you said, you're a wealth coach. Well, I think I said that.
So. I'm gonna steal that, by the way.
You're the wealth coach. You can have it. But they do need to just kind of touch base with you. So let's say you get them in really good shape, and then maybe once a year, whatever it is that you meet with them, so to keep them on track, right?
Yes. The idea is keep them on track. And what I try to do is, for a certain amount of time, I always say the main thing I teach is discipline.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm teaching more so than anything.
Sure.
Is if you're trying to get, and that's really with almost anything.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to get it right, you have to be disciplined. So, I can't literally hold your hand every day for 4 or 5 years. I mean, I guess I can charge you for it, but that's not
going to get you where you need to be.
Not
if you're charging them.
Exactly.
But you know what does is accountability.
Yes, accountability. So usually I'll go 3, maybe 6 months where I'm steadily kind of checking up on the client to see where it is. But then after a while, all right, I got to back up. But then I've gotten to, even though I've only been in business for a year and some change, I have had a few repeat clients that I worked with them maybe when I first started.
Sure.
Got things going, and maybe they kind of fell off and say, hey, James, let's kind of look at this again and let's see what we can do. It's no different from if you get a personal trainer, use them for 6 months, you lose a bunch of weight, then start eating cookies again.
And why are you looking at me when you say
that? And then a year later, you're calling them back like, hey, let's get back on the good foot, man. I slipped up.
Yeah, I get it. I totally could see that. But I think it repeats like that too, helps you form a habit that you're going to stick with.
Yes, and that's really the idea.
So I'm wondering, like in that beginning, relationship, that, financial relationship that you're having with these people. Is it uncomfortable in the beginning when you are calling to check up? Like what's the response? Is it varied?
I try to make it as uncomfortable as possible. Because when I'm working with them, I, once again, going back to the naked theory, they've already, if done correctly, put it all out on the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know more about them than their parents, financial wise.
We used to call that the come to Jesus meeting.
Oh, yes. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I've seen the bankruptcies. I've seen the foreclosures. I've seen the evictions, the divorces, and all of that kind of stuff. So once you've gotten past that, it's really not as uncomfortable. It's once you've seen somebody naked and you're used to it, it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Once they know that I know their business, why are we uncomfortable?
So
I know the situation. There's no reason to hide.
You can ask them about the debt. You can openly say, hey, did you get that credit card? Things that would be weird to even mention to begin with.
Yes. At that point, especially if I've been working with them for a few months now, at that point, it's really not as uncomfortable. The most uncomfortable part is in the beginning when they're putting it out on the table, and I have a little spreadsheet that I use and have them fill out, with all the information. But I always have to usually go back and sit with them and go through it again and say, okay, so we don't have any this, or we don't have any outstanding credit card. Did you leave a credit card out? And usually they left some stuff out. Oh yeah, I
have this one for emergency.
It's
my Victoria's Secret card for emergency.
Because I dwindle it all the way down to the Netflix account, to the Hulu account. How often are you getting that Starbucks every morning? How often are you eating out for lunch? Like all of that, how often are you getting, filling up your car with gas?
I think of how great we are about some things. Personally, I think like we don't, unless it's a planned meal out, we almost never eat out.
Yeah, we do.
But we don't do like the Starbucksy thing. But I'm guilty of medium-sized purchases where it's like right. Like we need this camera.
Now, James, would you consider that a medium purchase?
No, I've seen those equipment, and they're not cheap.
I guess I want to say medium. I'm talking like $1,000 camera versus like a boat or something that people get.
I will say, he's
those
not
kinds of
into
things.
The boats,
and we live pretty small,
stuff.
but I can tell you that we just like when we talked to you last time, we will absolutely be able to get great value from building a plan together with you, no doubt.
I would love, like I told you before, I would love to do it. And then technically I would look at, depending on the techie items, for you guys, it's technically an investment. So some of it, we could kind of let it go because, hey, what you guys are doing, you need some of that to help grow the business. But I'm sure some of it I've been like, all right, Dan, come on, man. Come on. You don't need this.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we'll talk to him about,
of
too.
Course.
But how do you work it with, well, we'll probably get into this, but for people out there, so there's a lot of couples. I mean, I think there is nowadays that are, they're married, but they keep their income separate.
That's true.
Which I think you have to do. Like,
I can tell you as
that in my first.
I didn't do that
marriage.
in my
this one. I'm like, nope.
I didn't do it in my first 14 marriages either. So I think it works much better to keep it separate for me. And I just, what my philosophy is, off topic for a minute, is let's just keep it separate and I'll pay for everything. How about we do it that way? It's a win-win.
I mean, it's kind of a win-win for me, definitely. But then I have to argue with him if I do want to pay for something. It's ridiculous, But do you work that as like two separate entities, or like how do you work that?
I would usually work it probably together and just look at the two different accounts and kind of work it that way, but still together because you're still a team. You're married,
and we want to retire together.
Right,
of course.
You want to retire together, so it's still something that I would work together. But that goes back to what we mentioned before, the assessment and actually taking the time. Sometimes that's one of the longest part of the client consultation because if a situation like that, I have to understand the situation, how you guys doing it now so that I can look back and do the research on maybe a better way that we can do it, still keeping it how you guys are working it, especially if it's working.
It is, and I think will be easy. It's interesting that you have that philosophy for any couple because I would imagine you do have to do the checks and balances like that, and maybe for us too. But for me, I'm inclined to go, you take care of student loans, I'll take care of our retirement, and I guess there are those kinds of balances you do.
No. It's definitely a thing. And I'm a very big proponent of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come in a situation and you guys are doing something that's working, I'm not just because I see it one way and get you to revamp everything. No, if it's working, let's build on top of what's already working.
Yeah.
But if it's not working,
Yeah.
There's a lot of instances where we do have to clean the slate.
Of course.
And say, okay, let's do it this way.
You're sinking.
Because you're sinking. This is not working.
Yeah.
We got to start from scratch.
Sure.
But if it's already working, or at least doing pretty decent, then we can just build on top of the building blocks that you've already established.
So our PTSD from past relationships, he can work right through that. I don't want to be in that situation where I have to
see it all.
To get permission to buy a coffee.
Listen.
Call James. James, Circle K, 85 cents.
James, I need to get a coffee. Come on, man.
Once I'm done, you guys will be inviting me over for dinner all the time. It's like having a personal lawyer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, this guy knows everything anyway. So come on over for dinner.
Yeah, I love that though.
Buy me Christmas gifts and mailing them to the house and everything. Hey, it's that personal.
James is going to be like, you know that budget for my Christmas gifts?
This is how much you get.
This is how much you
get. Something really good. I have my Amazon wish list. You can just check right out there. Just kidding. He doesn't do that.
She'll say, oh, look, there's another Amazon package here. And I open it and it's like toilet paper or a cable or you know what I mean? It's like it looks like it's Christmas until you start opening the packages and it's like it's like household. That's what we do now. I feel like you save money with Amazon because instead of being in Walmart or Target and randomly buying things, you don't do that. I just order what I need.
That is true. I started last year. All my Christmas shopping last year was strictly through Amazon.
Yeah.
I did not have to go to any store.
No impulse buys.
Impulse buys.
Yeah.
I bought exactly what I needed for my family.
Love it.
It came to the house.
Yeah.
And it was done. I
That's
didn't have to spend extra money on gas, driving all over the place, trying to find what I'm looking for.
The stress of the whole thing.
The stress of the whole thing, the waste of time, because I'm big on time, all the time. No, it shows up at the house. I wrap it. It's a done deal.
We've been doing it with groceries lately. Where
I do Amazon Fresh because we literally don't order because I will go to the grocery store and I can drop some mad money at the grocery store because I'm like,
but it's like a $6 fee.
It's like this little new thing over here. Oh, this is BOGO.
But it's good for your diet too because you don't wander into the wrong section and leave with a pie or something like I do.
Well, that's the main idea, and everything you guys are saying is stuff that when I'm sitting with clients, we talk about.
Yeah.
Because a small thing I'll say, and you guys have heard it before, I'm sure. You never go to the grocery store hungry.
Never.
Because I look at, a couple and I'm looking at, okay, how much you guys spend on groceries a month? And it's like $500-$600 or something. I'm like, well, why?
There's just
it's two people.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm with you.
But usually it's them going to the grocery store. They're already hungry. They're throwing a bunch of stuff. And then guess what? It comes home. They don't eat half of it. It goes to waste.
Yes.
You throw away most of it.
So true.
And you could have cut that in half, easily saving $300 a month right there, fixing most situations.
So we at least have one section figured out.
Yeah. But okay. And that is true because so we had an interview with Charlie Pioli from O-Town Compost. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I don't think so.
But it's in Orlando, and basically his goal is small business, but he's growing.
Okay.
And it's to try to keep food out of the landfills because and he's teaming up with City of Orlando, and they've kept tons and hundreds of tons of food out of the landfills.
We get a little bin in our kitchen. You might have saw. You just put your food scraps in there, and then you dump them outside in the bin.
Wow.
But having that on your counter makes you realize how much food you're wasting, and that is a money thing because then you go, why did we just throw this whole piece of chicken away? We could have cut that up and put it in our salad and ate that
or
leftover,
froze it for soup or something.
So it really does that can help you in the food department, like how much money you're wasting.
Yeah. Plus, I like to make the joke that's not really a joke that I don't think they're legally allowed to let you out of Publix if you haven't spent $50. Even if
I agree.
I'll go in there for like two things, and I'm like, that's $65. What happened?
That's why when they send you the coupons, it's $10 off $50 because they know you're going to spend $50.
Right.
And you know what, Angie, I heard you say something that brought something back to my remembrance because if we would listen to like our parents, most of us grew up, food prep nowadays is nothing but leftovers.
Yeah.
Like that we grew up. Growing up, we're eating leftovers.
Yeah.
But now, we've gotten to a point, oh no, I got to eat a fresh meal every day or I got to do this. And then, you buy a bunch of food, it ends up going to waste.
It's
so
true.
That's one of the first places I start is, hey, what are you buying? When you go to the grocery store, how are you doing it? Let's revamp that because usually you can find a lot of money being thrown out the window.
See a lot of waste.
Yeah. See a lot of waste going there. Yeah. And once again, a lot of waste going into fast food too. I get a lot of that. Yeah. Eating fast food all the time.
She's been a great influence for that, but I see so many people my age still that eat fast food all the time. I'm like, I don't know how you do that without being sick,
Without being sick, but most people I know, they eat it all the time. they have some kind of financial complaints.
Yeah.
That's very expensive.
Of course, and it adds up. It's one of those things you don't realize that.
Like $4 here,
$10
even if you're eating
there.
off the dollar menu. But that's.
Have you all noticed, and I'm sure you probably have, since the pandemic, a lot of stuff got closed down for
Sure.
a while, but since things have opened up a little bit, prices have went up, even in fast food, grocery stores.
Sure.
I'm getting movie tickets, like different places. Some of the nice restaurants I like to go to, I'm like, it wasn't as expensive before.
Right.
But,
we have talked to small businesses, though, and because their prices have increased on the things that they are purchasing. So now they've had to reflect it in the price.
Like the cost of food. Like when we talked to Lori Tarter from
Chef's Table.
Mm-hmm. She, one of our favorite restaurants ever. If you haven't been there,
restaurant.
Oh yeah, isn't it? Have you been to the back? Oh, it's so good.
I love it.
But she was saying their cost is going up, so they have to stay afloat.
Yeah.
So it's a great point.
The price goes up, but then that price goes on to the consumer.
Yeah.
So now that your budget's now once again out of whack, especially if you're eating out every day. I mean, just say, $15 now. If you just want to, Chick-fil-A, I love Chick-fil-A.
Me too.
But you get a regular meal Chick-fil-A, you're looking at $12, $15 easy.
Yep.
That every day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, 12 months.
And
calculate that.
And I bet that's what you're really good at doing. Like
that's part of the job.
You drink a soda every day. Or a Starbucks coffee every day. Okay, how much are you spending on Starbucks?
And people are shocked. I love the ones with the cigarette habit.
Yeah.
That's they have no idea. No idea.
How expensive it is.
Let's calculate these packs that you're smoking and put it in a year. I put it in a year perspective. When they see the thousands of dollars that they're wasting per year, I'm like, that could have put the down payment on the car that you need.
Yeah. And hopefully you can influence that, kind of quitting that habit, because then, save for your medical care, or what I mean? Like things like that.
And sometimes you have to take it that far out, because what to me is a sad thing is if you do good financially, but then at the end, you get older and all your money that you save now goes to medical bills.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not we, do what we have to do now, take care of ourselves physically, so that financially down the line, we can still be good and we're not putting all of our money back into hospitals and medication.
And you're enjoying the money that you earned instead of it going towards something
instead of going to something
you
have to get. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, because when we met you the first time, we were in the throes of COVID. Not that we're not now. And we talked. We talked a little bit about how some businesses are kind of born during this time, like this. But I just wondered if you're seeing a trend as a result, maybe of the virus. Are people saving more? Are people spending more? Is the tide starting to sort of go back to normal now?
People are spending more.
Okay, they are.
I did hear that.
Because at first, everyone was like, save. We don't know what's going to happen.
Well, because, when things shut down, what could you buy?
Yeah.
Nothing was really open.
True, but people
and limited.
I think people also discovered that no matter how secure their job has been, some people lost their job and realized how fragile the economy can be.
That too. But, as you guys know, there's been a lot of, the stimulus packages, and there's been a lot of other different governmental packages, the SBA loans and different things where people have been able to get other ways of finance.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, once again, instead of necessarily saving it and using it, they're still spending it.
Yeah.
And once again, stuff like that keeps me employed, which is good, but it's not the best habit to have. Because
that's a great question. Like,
you
how
just
many
end up back in where you were before.
Yeah,
like how many people took their stimulus and put it in savings? Raise your hand. That's the thing that I'm sure so
if
many
they were
people.
Honest, most of them would turn their head, put their head down because they didn't do that.
I didn't buy anything fun, but I paid stuff off.
Yeah, same. Reduced debt.
Paid off some debt.
Yeah.
Or I like to talk about an emergency fund. Like, to me, I have a thing that I talk to clients about. I call it ghost money.
Yeah.
And ghost money is money that you don't see. So tax returns, I would call like a stimulus check.
Yeah.
If you had a job and you get a bonus that you didn't expect or things like that, that's ghost money. That goes into an emergency fund. That goes in a fund that really doesn't exist.
Sure.
I love that.
And then when you really do need it, is there. It exists then.
I love that though.
Not when you don't really need it.
Yeah, I love that because it doesn't wreck your day-to-day life. You didn't see it. You did. That's a good way to treat a raise too, if you can.
That's the idea. That is the idea. And I always give tips such as put it in a different bank. Like if you have one main bank that you use or whatever.
Oh, that's a great
tip. Put it in a whole different bank.
So you don't even see it.
No debit card attached to it. None of that stuff.
Over real
no
quick.
Yeah, right. No transfer stuff.
Don't install the app.
To me, the further the bank is, the better. So,
what a great idea.
When you do think about, I get that money. It's like, do I really want to drive all the way over there? Because I don't have a debit card for it. And I don't have the transfer set up. So I can't, to forget about it. It kind of puts a few barriers to get into the money.
It's like nature's way of telling you don't get the money. You're not supposed to get the money. That's why it's painful.
And
it's almost like you should have an account. I don't know if you just said that, but that you have to go in and physically sign.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly emergency fund.
That's why I said no app, no card, nothing.
Nothing
you should also make it to where you have to sign it, but then the guy has to approve it in there or something. Literally make yourself some barriers, like you said.
If I was dealing with a couple that really had discipline issues, I would suggest they have it to where both of them had to sign.
Oh, that's smart.
To get any money
that's
out of
very
it.
smart.
So usually somebody's strong. Somebody's like, we're not doing it. We don't need it.
Brilliant.
And they can balance each other out.
That is brilliant, actually.
No.
So I know you do debt consolidation.
Yes.
And I know that there are services out there that I learned from my late teens that do debt consolidation. I'm quoting for those of you not watching the video, I'm air quoting.
Right.
That end up being sort of bad for your debt because what they really do is it consolidate it all in one account. It can mess up your credit.
Right.
When you say debt consolidation, what do you mean by that?
I don't mean it in the traditional sense that you've known before.
Sure.
I'm more debt consolidation, meaning I probably should even change it to debt consultation, just like everything else.
Yeah.
But it's really sitting down and looking at the debt to find out a way that we can decrease the debt.
Start chipping away.
That's the bottom line. Start chipping away at it.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my things is usually kind of start small, your smaller debt, kind of knock that off and then tackle the biggest stuff down the line.
Yeah.
But really getting it and putting it, really even consolidating, but looking at it in one space. Because sometimes you have debt all over the place. Some stuff you've made yourself not even remember.
Yeah.
Or you don't even realize it's a debt.
Some stuff you don't even realize that it's a debt until you maybe pull your credit or something comes in the mail. You're like, oh man, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's my job is to get all of that, put it in one space. All right, how can we knock this down and get us in a better space? Because the idea when it comes to debt is when you pay off debt, you give yourself a raise. Okay.
Yeah,
if
true.
you're you have a $100 debt per month and you get rid of that, that's $100 now that you keep in your pocket per month. So your job doesn't necessarily have to give you a raise. You get rid of some of that debt, you give yourself a raise.
That's a great way to look at it.
It'll turn out to be probably more of a raise than your job would give you. Well, jobs give you 1%, 2% maybe or something, a raise for you. That's really nothing. You get rid of some of that debt, you're giving yourself a raise.
I like
That's a great point.
So is part of that kind of helping to repair their credit and stuff as well? Because in the long run, that's something that's needed.
It all goes hand in hand. I don't necessarily, you didn't see on my website, I don't necessarily do credit repair where I'm calling creditors.
It's kind of a repercussion though.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When you get your debt in line, you're paying off debt, it's going to automatically help fix your credit.
Yeah.
So it all goes hand in hand.
I love that.
I do too. It's funny you're talking about debt. We all have our methods, and I am looking forward to learning them from you. I play little tricks with myself. Like if I have any single credit card that is over 3 digits that is owed on it, in my spreadsheet it's set to turn red. Like this is
I like that.
a nightmare. You shouldn't have it over that. So my
good.
goal is always to keep it down to 3 digits or less. Because
I like that.
Yeah, you know.
I like
And
that.
when we look at my stuff, I'm going to be afraid to show Dan.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
But he don't pay it. I pay it. But it's
That's part of the what we have to go through though.
Now, I would also say, I've dealt with a lot of couples and you guys seem to have a good grasp, we have separate accounts and things. It's pretty decent grasp. But I've had couples who have the separate accounts and it's not a good grasp. One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing.
Yeah.
Because my suggestion is if you're going to have separate accounts, you should still talk about it and kind of know what's going on. Because you hate for something to get out of hand when you could have, fixed it together.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's always still a point where I suggest for couples to have, depending on how bad the situation is, monthly, maybe even quarterly meetings where you sit down and specifically talk about finances.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's going on in your accounts? How's everything going? Oh, yeah, I spent this, I got that. I got this much left in it. And I still got this debt. Okay, when I have we have an understanding.
I love that because
you're not talking about it all the time.
No, not all the time.
It's stressful.
Not all the time.
But
and you're not in each other's business about it, but you're aware.
You're aware. That's the idea. You want to be aware. You don't want a situation to get out of hand, and then 5 years, we could have handled that 5 years ago, and we'd have been good. But because nobody's talking about it,
I love that.
It gets out of hand.
Yeah, I love that because for us, we're constantly going. I know I'm constantly saying, do you need money for anything? You need money? Like, oh, my car's broke. You need money for anything? She always says no, but that's my habit.
Right. As a good husband, that's how it should be.
And I'm going to say no even if I needed it.
Yeah. See, and that's where we need to have these.
I'll figure it out. I will go do some yard work at somebody's house.
Now, also, once again, and this is one of the things I suggest, because how I do it is, hey, everything is still a suggestion. It's kind of a blueprint.
Of course.
I give you a blueprint. You choose what works for you, what works for you guys. You do the stuff that works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I like transparency. Mm-hmm. So if you're married, even though you have separate accounts, I think everybody should still have access and be able to see what's in those accounts.
Sure.
If it's a good marriage, shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Which I think we both do. Well, we have.
I just put you on all of my stuff. I just made you power of attorney and everything.
I have him on my account in case something, in case something happens.
And it's really accountability as well. Yeah. So especially if you've had, bad situations financially, you both are holding each other accountable because you can see his stuff, he can see yours. Yeah. So when you start to notice, I see a new pair of shoes under the bed that she tried to hide. These look kind of expensive. They got the red bottoms on them. Okay, you know what? Let me see what she got going on.
He got real lucky with that because I'm not that girl.
You know what? I imagine this happens a lot in your business because I have been in relationships like that. But I will say for us, I think we're like full on rapport. Even though it's like, I don't care what I'll be like, I'm buying a computer next. I've been telling you 6 months I'm buying a computer.
He's been prepping me.
He's been prepping you. Okay.
But I know situations and couples like that where it just gets bought and then it's like, no, this is my old one. You're like, what are you doing? See, I don't ever want to live like that.
You don't want to live like that because in a good marriage, you want a level of trust. You want to be able to trust the other person instead of thinking they're sneaking around buying this and that. Just tell me you're buying it. If you're gonna buy it, just say you're gonna buy it.
So little anecdote for a minute, but I don't know if you heard about that lady. She was on TikTok or something, but she saved all of her Amazon boxes throughout the year in the attic. Mm-hmm. And then one day as a prank to her husband, she put them all together and put them outside the front door before I got home from work.
I'd have passed out.
So it looked like she just went on a shopping spree.
I would have passed out. I literally would have passed out. That's a good prank though.
Yeah, isn't it?
For somebody like me who's really big on finance,
I bet you'd be like, what are you doing? We are returning all of this.
Like, who did I marry?
It's going back. It's going back.
So I know what net worth analysis is. That's again where you do your sort of comparison of what your.
I don't know what that is.
So if I understand, and I'll let you jump in, James, but it's your debt to income ratio, really, isn't it?
That's it. That's basically it. The idea of a net worth analysis that may not be a big deal to some people, but other people it may be a big deal too because a lot of people don't know their net worth. Yeah. If you a small business and you're doing very well, kind of knowing your net worth may help you, maybe get a loan, get a bigger loan, or get investment partners to help invest. Because hey, let me tell you, not only my business's net worth, but my own personal net worth. Yeah. Somebody may be wanting to invest with you based on this person, they have this kind of net worth. I can probably know that they'll back up that money. So so that is sitting with them and finding out, hey, what are the different assets that you have, what money are you bringing in, so on and so forth. This is your net worth. How can we use that to better your situation? Okay, look at your business. Let's look at different stuff. Maybe we can look at angel investors and just different ways that they can do better, basically in their business or personally.
I never thought of it that way. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you have a cool event coming up pretty soon. I think on the 8th.
Oh yes. 8th? Yes.
So a local magazine, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
IBA Success. They have they're doing a Men with a Billionaire Mindset edition.
Oh, very nice.
They asked me to be a part of it. So I will have
amazing,
I didn't know you guys saw that.
Oh, yeah.
But,
we did our research.
You did your research. I like that. I'm very happy about that. I'll have my own article in the IBA Success Magazine. I'll make sure to get an extra one to bring it to you guys.
Oh,
you guys have it.
Sure.
But it's going to be a whole lot of different guys in the magazine in different industries. I'm in the finance industry. They got guys in real estate, guys who are in medical industry, different things. And it's just kind of talking to them and seeing how they think as far as, having that billionaire mindset. So I'm happy to be a part of that.
Oh, I love that too.
Congratulations. I think that's very well deserved.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
it. Especially kind of just that your business is still growing through where you started.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I mean, we talked about that on the first time you were on, like just starting and then this happened, right?
Yes.
Then 2020 happened, but you made it through, and we're to 2021 and 2022 is quickly approaching.
It's right around the corner now.
Please let it be. Please let it be onward and upward,
Yes, onward and upward. Get into the holidays and for me in my industry, actually the holidays, it gets good because, people are preparing for next year, which is, they're doing shopping and everything like that, but still they're preparing for next year. And it's kind of like, always use fitness, around this time you start thinking, okay, I've spent the whole year not doing anything. January 1st, I want to jump on it. I want to go to the gym. I want to do this.
Start
I'm going to get a trainer.
money.
So I'm going to start looking into it and stuff. So it really does kind of get good because people start to get serious about, okay, I'm going to spend all this money for the holidays, but I need to get somebody to help me come January 1st.
So I'm going to recover from it.
Exactly.
So what's next for you besides like doing the magazine thing? Like what's next with your business?
Well, it's funny. I am for this fourth quarter. I just I hired on a marketing company to help me do a lot more social media marketing.
Cool.
And I'm sure you guys know social media is a big thing.
Yep.
And when you have a lot of things going on, it's kind of, for me, it's just hard to really focus on that.
Yeah.
So just like I give people advice and say, hey, if you got financial issues and you can't do it yourself, you hire somebody.
Sure.
Hey, social media, I realize that I can't do it myself. The business is growing and I'm getting, more people contacting me. It's just stuff I can't juggle all by myself. So,
100% can relate. I mean, we're active on social media, but not to the degree that
exactly that you need to be.
You need someone just doing it all the time.
Yes, exactly. And I started off like, I'm going to be posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram 2-3 times a week, and it went down to like once a week if I can do it.
And then it's the same thing on every one. It's just the same picture on all of them. And it's not really the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, James, we got to get some expert advice. So
good for you.
You'll start to see, more things happening on that
Very
thing with social media. I do have a few more podcasts coming up. I'll be on the Sit Down. I think I told you guys about it next year.
Very nice.
I have an interview with that coming out on the Sit Down with Daniel Tatamy. So I'm excited about that. And like I said, things are going well for the holidays, and just how you mentioned, onward and upward.
I love it. So keep us posted because we'll put a link in our show notes on all the podcast players and YouTube to all your social media, to your website. Mm-hmm. But when you're going to be on those other podcasts, let us know. We'll put links on our show to that show. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I will definitely do that. I will definitely do that. I do have a few things coming up, so I'm really excited about it. And I was just very excited for round 2.
We're so happy you got to come into the studio.
Yeah, this has been so cool.
Ready by the time you came.
I know, I love it. And stay in touch with us. I mean, we want to sit with you and go through it, but aside from that, just keep us posted on your doings.
Most definitely. I have you guys on my social media, so I keep in. I've been keeping up with you guys.
Very nice.
I think when you guys hit the 100 mark, was it?
Yeah.
100 episode mark. I was able to give you guys a shout out.
Oh yeah,
that's a huge accomplishment.
You're in our 100. You're in that episode.
I'm in the episode.
We were so just heart. What is our heart was just? What am I trying to say? I always do this every episode. I can't figure it.
She's so funny because she'll go, what am I trying to say, Dan? And I'm like, I didn't get any clues.
What area are you supposed to know?
We were just thankful. We were just so thankful.
Because we had so many people that sent us just.
That was great.
I listened to a lot of them, and then it was pretty amazing.
It was really nice.
It was really great. Well, where can everybody find you once again?
They can find me on Facebook on Hicks Financial AWM.
Yep.
They can also find me on, actually I got that wrong, Facebook at Hicks Financial AAWM. AWM was already taken, so I had an extra A.
Or just scroll down and click.
That as well.
That's easier.
Or on Instagram at Hicks Financial AWM. Or they can go to my website, www.hicksfinancialawm.com.
You got it. And again, if you're watching or listening, just scroll down and all those links will be there for you to click, for sure.
Amazing.
James, thank you so much. This was great.
I'm ready for next time. You guys let me know.
Oh, for sure.
We'll do it again. I'm excited. By then I have more information, more fun stories.
All right. Sounds great.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode with Mr. James Hicks again. And remember, at the end of each and every day,
it's all fine and dandy.